Trey, are you with us tonight?
I'm here.
He's got a couple of buttons to press to do this, folks.
Well, I'm here. You should be able to hear me now. Can you hear me?
We got you, buddy. We got you now.
There he is.
Yeah, I'm here.
How do you mute you?
All right.
I'm not. I unmuted it.
Okay. What, Trey? What is what's you have said you have something to show tonight?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to do was every year I'll take a picture of my ornaments, and I thought I'd just run through those pictures real quick so you can see the what I did. I know you said don't do too many, but I'll just go through them quickly because they're already on my iPad. So, okay. That's the first group, and you notice I've got different tops on them. Every one is different because I matched the tops up afterwards. I don't think there are any duplicate pictures. There may be some. You notice there's some fractal burning on some of them, some patinas and enamel tops, all different shapes. A couple big ones that I finished up this year from last year. Lighthouses. And I do a lot of this, so I know what I've done during the year. And I showed how to. Okay. Now this is one thing I didn't show. These are smaller bulbs, but I wired them together. And if you notice, it's wired so it hangs as a group of three lights. Some more of the lights. These are the small globes and stuff. These are some of them I showed how we did some of the colorations and stuff on that. I think we did some. We talked about some of the colors and stuff on it. Some more of the same. Little Santas, small and large. Some more tops. You can see where I did some of the flame painting on the top of that. A few extra ones hanging over. These are some of the cactus I got out of Arizona and I did something on. Can somebody tell me what kind of cactus this is?
Okay. Anybody guessing at it?
Well,
So
somebody
say you got that out of Arizona?
That's Ocotillo.
Cotillo. Okay.
Ocotillo.
Ocotillo. Could you put that in the chat so I'll pick it up out of that?
Yes, I will.
Thanks.
You're what?
Okay, folks, Trey, hold on one second. Trey, I'm going to mute everybody and then turn you back on again because we have some background noise I can't get rid of. So Trey, do the spacebar thing if you can, and I'll get you back in.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
I got you now.
Okay. Yep, I got to do, that's a duplicate, but you know, some of these I didn't even put top. I didn't even put a top on it. I just put some birds on the end of it and a hanger. Same thing on that little red bird sitting in there.
Hey, real quick, that cactus is not Ocotillo. That cactus is called Cholla.
Okay. And Cholla is one of several different, there's a whole bunch of different species of Cholla, aren't there?
Correct. In Arizona, though, the two most common are going to be organ pipe Cholla and teddy bear Cholla. And what I'm looking at right there looks to be like teddy bear. It could be organ pipe, though. They're very similar. Organ pipe's generally a little bit skinnier, and it looks like organ pipes when it grows, hence its name. And then teddy bear Cholla, from a distance, looks fluffy. I promise you it's not. And it's also nicknamed jumping cactus.
Okay, that's probably what it is. Add that to the chat for me if you would, so I wouldn't be able to spell it anyway.
You are correct. I think Ocotillo is a little bit bigger in diameter than that. Looks very similar, but it's bigger in diameter. I was wrong.
Okay, these are some Ichiban pots. And cherry.
Can you put the place where you get those little birds in the chat, please?
I got them off. I got them off eBay. Here's some other oak pieces. some oak, and I believe that's a mesquite. Couple more birdhouses, couple stragglers, and I think that's it.
Wow.
If I can interrupt just a moment, if you go to the website, there's a new page called FYI. And on FYI page, I've been taking things out of chat. And among other things that you'll find will be things like where people have said they found birds or other thing where they found paint. We're not recommending any brands. We're just saying these are things people have mentioned. So I thought I'd mention that for future reference.
Thank you, Dave. Bob Moffett jumped in just now and said Hobby Lobby has packages of small birds, 12 per pack.
Okay, thank you.
That's in the chat.
Trey, I've got a question.
Yes.
We were talking the other time about metal filings from the key cutting machines. And you
Yes.
said you had to use a magnet to get the metal out. Why?
Yeah. Because there's obviously some steel mixed in with some of it. Now, the place I got it was not from, I got it from a regular key shop. And I understand that there's some keys that are steel based, and they may be cutting all different types of keys and have some steel based keys in there.
And why wouldn't you have that in the mess anyway?
Well, you don't want steel. You want brass, because brass
Why?
is cuts with your steel tools easy, but steel will damage your tools.
But it's so small.
Yeah, it still nicks your tools.
Well, you know what? Sand is pretty small too, and they'll dull tools very quickly.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
If you think a steel is small, think about how much a gnat bite scratch makes you itch, and you can barely see them.
How about a splinter? Same thing. But steel may rust also. So
Unless your chainsaw blade hits some dirt and see how it dulls it.
or bone. Hey Trey, the little Christmas trees you had, it looked like they had notches out of them, or is that painted for an illusion?
No, that is, they're turned, and I'll grab one. I think I got one here I can grab. I showed how to do it. It's an offset turning.
Trey, stand by. Okay, you're back. Doug Miller just jumped right in. Just say a word. Just popped in there. You know, like you've got a lot of turning done. Wow, does he?
I should have one in this box. That's the reason why I'm saying that. Oh, got it. This one right here. It's turned on an offset. It's turned on four axes. One axis between centers, and then I offset it. Do an offset axis on it. And I showed how to do that in an earlier demo earlier. So that demo should be on the website showing how to do this. But that's turned on. It's turned on an offset, and I'll turn the grooves on this offset on this side. Then I'll turn all three offsets. Then I paint it, and then I'll come back afterwards and skim it back off.
Okay, great, thanks. Great work. Thank you very much for sharing.
But it'll be on the website of what I did on that one, because that is an earlier demo. Okay. Oh, that's all I had to show.
Okay, you're gonna do a demo tonight on a sharpening. Doug, you're back again.
Yeah, I'll get after you get through to go through some people, or I can do it whenever.
Okay. All right. Hi, folks. This isn't me. This is Doug.
Hey guys, it's good to see everybody tonight. Was watching a video on YouTube that really didn't require my full attention, so I decided I'd play a little bit. So I got a nice little piece of box elder, and yeah, you can see lots of worm trails in it. So it's a small little bowl. Didn't take but maybe 30 minutes to do from beginning to end. Just a wax finish, but the bug trails and the red staining that's in the box elder all works together to give it a real nice character. So that was a lot of fun. Saw a picture from a friend of mine who's a potter. He had a whole wall of his of nothing but mugs, and I thought that's pretty neat. But I'm a wood turner, and so I decided I'd make a coffee mug for myself. I haven't used it just yet. Been waiting for the oil that I put on it to finish gassing off. But a little piece of spalted maple, and so as soon as those solvents from the oil are gone, I'm going to start using this. It'll get nice and black and ugly, but it's I'm going to enjoy it because it's mine.
Is it
And then-
dishwasher safe?
Heavens no. Dishwasher get way too hot. This thing would probably burn in the dishwasher. But no, this will it'll get rinsed and that's it. No soap will be on this.
I have to mention that because we have folks say, can you make me something I can wash?
Oh yeah, you can wash it, just not in the dishwasher. But most people don't realize there's an electric element in the bottom of that dishwasher to dry. It heats the water, but it also dries as well, and it gets really hot. If you happen to put that wood item on your lower level, you could be in some real trouble. Anything else on that? I've got one last piece I want to show you real quick. Been seeing a lot of people using embellishing waxes of various kinds, particularly on oak and other open wood or open grain woods like ash and a few others. Spun up a mahogany bowl, and this is, I'll show you the difference in a minute. This has got a green, kind of an electric green embellishing wax. Comes from across the pond. But it was kind of neat. Like I said, this is mahogany, and you can see the difference when I turn it over. Here's your natural mahogany color. Your green makes a big difference. It lightened it up considerably.
It does. I've had fun with that stuff.
I'm sorry?
I've had a lot of fun with that because you can mix them together and shadow them, etc.
Absolutely. And if you do, if you have texturing tools, you can lay the texturing on there and then come in. You can leave it natural, just the texture, and put your embellishing waxes down in that, or you can paint it, stain it, whatever you want. Put those embellishing waxes and let them contrast against the base color, and they can be really beautiful. Like I said, this mahogany, I didn't think it did much, but then I saw the bottom, and it does a lot.
Good, thank you, appreciate it.
Would you put the name of that wax in the chat?
I'll do it.
Thank you.
And folks, that's what we look for is tips and hints, what Doug did. And we call folks by their first name or refer to them. It is all because we're friends and family. And I mean, look, Kim's out there right now tonight. We have Matt, we have Kim, we have the Sarge, Ronnie. They're all pretty much regulars, but you can be a regular too. So you want to throw something in on a pile, it's fine. We're just popping chips. Jeff has got a safety moment for us, don't you, Jeff?
Yep. Tonight's safety moment is.
Oh, you're not talking, Jeff. Jeff, you got to talk.
Yeah, there we go. So tonight's safety moment is about the tool rest. You may see some professionals moving the tool rest around while the lathe's moving, but don't do it. They are professionals. They know what they're doing, but you shouldn't be moving it around. You can really get hurt. You can break off your piece that you worked hours on, so don't do it. Sanding, remove the tool rest, move the tool post out of the way when you're sanding so you don't get caught between it. And then, let's see, what was the other thing? Also, when you got your piece on, and if you move the tool rest, make sure you spin it around. 360 degrees. Make sure it doesn't hit that tool rest. Unless you got it sharp, then it's okay. So that's it for the safety moment.
Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate it, folks. We do that spotlight, that little spotlight about safety every week. It's important because we don't want you to get hurt. In fact, I sign off on the telephone people by saying be safe. And it's just that way. We want you to be safe. Brenda, you still with us? Yeah, okay, I see her. I thought she left when we called her Crash Brenda. As the first couple of times we talked to her, Ronnie got rather upset. He didn't sleep tonight because we are out to help you out. And apparently we helped her. Right, Brenda, did we help you out?
Yes, you did. Yes. This
Good.
wisdom meeting has helped me several times.
Good.
Yes.
That's what we're here for. Some guy, Gene, called me today and he had some real basic questions about turning. He's a young man. I think he's only 84. And he wants to get back into this again. And he was asking some very straightforward questions. If you have those questions and you don't feel like you can talk to us, put it in chat. We have folks watching the chat and we'll try to get to the question and answer. I'll find somebody on our line right here in our club that can help you out with. Wow, we got a lot of stuff on chat tonight. I got to peek up there every once in a while and see what it is.
Hey, Eddie, I went in and I pulled up the images of the two different choyas. If you want to spotlight me, I'll reverse my camera and show everybody what they looked like before Trey turned them into ornaments.
There you are.
Okay, and let me flip the camera around. Maybe.
Please flip.
There we go.
Around.
Okay, so that right there is an Arizona organ pipe choya. The stalk right here.
Yeah, we're seeing Kim. We're not seeing you, Doug.
You don't
see Doug.
You don't see me?
I'm seeing you, seeing what you're doing.
Yeah, I see Doug also. Maybe you just pinned Kim.
So this trunk, if it was a tree, but it's not a tree, it's a cactus. So the stalk right here, that's probably what Trey made that out of. Now the other type of choya that it could be is teddy bear choya. Let me make this bigger. Okay, and both of them are also called jumping cactus, but this is the one that really lights you up. If you're new to the Arizona desert and you're walking around, it doesn't actually jump on you, but just the slightest little touch, and that stuff grabs onto you. So you don't think that you're that close to the cactus, little static electricity from your jeans or whatever, and next thing you know, you're wearing that stuff. See all these little ones that have fallen off? They break off real easy and stick into your skin. But the center is very similar to the organ pipe choya when all the needles and everything are gone. So that's why I'm saying it's hard for me to tell which one he actually used. There's no doubt in my mind it is a choya of what that cactus came from a choya. I just don't know which one of the two.
Thank you, Doug.
There's your little Arizona cactus lesson.
That's
All
awesome.
right,
see is Captain Ed.
Appreciate it.
That's why we have the first sergeant on board, because he answers those questions when we need them. Trey, you ready to do the demo, or we need to take another pause?
No, I'm ready.
All right. Trey, let's rock into Trey. Trey is in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and he does these demos for us. Has done probably 6 or 7 for us. That's what Ronnie was talking about. We don't want to burn out our demonstrators. If you want to get in on something, we have Matt Harbor lined up in a little bit. We have Paul Hannaby in a wait on the deck for another night. Cade says he wants to do one. Now, get on board. Trey, it's all yours, sir. I'm muting out.
Okay, thank you. What I'm going to show tonight is the 40-40 grind that Stuart Batty's made very popular. And I'll show you why. And let me go ahead and show you why to start with. Let's go with that. And what it does, and the benefit of the grind, is that the tip that I'm cutting on, if the tool is flat with a 0 cut on it, that tip right there is not cutting. But if I rotate it just a little bit, right here, I'm getting an angle cut of about 80 degrees on it. Rotate a little more, I'm about 70 degrees, and I can go all the way over to about 45 degrees on it. The tip that is cutting is only this little section right here, and what it's doing, it is slicing the wood. The wing behind it peels it off. So the only thing that cuts to start with is the tip, not the wing. And that's the real advantage of the particular grind on it. And let's see if this one's sharp. Yeah. And I'll go ahead and just, well.
All I see is Captain Eddie.
I don't know how it is. I'm looking at Trey on my second screen.
I'm looking at myself.
I see Captain Eddie. That's it.
You don't have him pinned, do you?
I'm watching I can't see Trace either.
I'm seeing Trey.
I see Trey. Check to see if you've got a pin, somebody's video pinned, because that might override it.
Now put yourself in speaker view.
That would be it. Put on your screen. If you know how to change it, you may have changed it accidentally. You have to go to view.
Change what?
On the top of your screen, there's gallery view, speaker view, if it's on the top of your screen. But you want to pick.
I'm an iPad.
On mine.
Go hover over yourself and see what it says.
Eddie, if you put me as co-host, I'll just knock him onto spotlight.
But I did that, Martin.
No, you missed me out tonight, Eddie. I thought I was fired.
No, man, you're in there. I did earlier. But the screen is, every time somebody comes in, my screen jumps, and I might have made somebody else a co-host. I was going through a minute ago, see it. Like right now, I'm looking at the same name over and over and over.
I should be right at the top there, Eddie. I am on my screen.
Really, I can't even get your image.
I'll shout. That'll bring me to the top.
No, because I got Shane spotlighted. I can't see your image. I'll get you, Martin. I'll get you in here. All right. If anybody's got a radio, there he is.
Yeah, I spotlighted Martin. Then you can find him.
Yeah, I see Martin.
Try the co-host, Eddie.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, this is Martin. He's our UK specialist. He's in the UK, not out of the UK. He's in the UK right now.
Eddie, if you switch to gallery view, Martin will be in your upper left corner, and you can then make him a co-host.
That part of my screen's not working tonight. I should reboot it.
I'll sing and dance for everybody, but I'd rather you're back watching Trey's demo.
Or you can go participants and go to more and make it.
I'm going to switch it back to Trey. All you, Trey.
Now I see Trey.
Okay, you ready for me to continue?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. I'm going to find Martin, get him in here.
Okay. One other really nice thing on this, that cut right there gives me a really sharp shear angle on this cut right here against that edge. But all I have to do to change it is just rotate the tool, because I have 40-degree angle all the way around it. So when I'm going in and I'm running into an area that's punky or something, I can rotate it back up and have a sharper shear on it. And I'll just make a quick cut on this. Only thing I'm concerned with is once the tool is in the cut, no pressure on it, I'm just holding down. And I was cutting a little bit higher above center. The tool is held when you're cutting. It's held horizontal. And you cut dead center. Set your tool rest so you're cutting dead center, and the tool is held horizontal. No matter whether you're cutting inside of a bowl, the outside, or whatever, it doesn't make any difference. It's held horizontal. But let's look at how we sharpen this tool. And I'll grab. I'll show you how it's sharpened. Okay. Now, on my tool rest, I have set a 40-degree angle from the tool rest to the wheel. I've also come out here and marked put a line at 40 degrees on both sides. That tells me how far over I go on the side. And the gouge is really sharpened in 3 different sections.
Trey, before you start that, let me ask somebody who has a radio or the TV on in the background, please turn it off or mute yourself again. You've pressed the space bar and you're coming on the show. So go ahead, Trey, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay. It's sharpened in 3 different sections. Now, my tool is not, that would be my flute sticking straight up and down. That would be the flute straight up and down. It's not straight up and down. What I'm looking at is I want this bottom section of the flute to be parallel to the grind, to the platform. So I cut one side, sharpen one side. Notice I'm parallel to the 40-degree angle. Sharpen the other side. And then blend it. After you've done it for a while, you can just come up to it. And that gouge is sharp and ready to go. You see how quick it comes up and to do it. The other thing to do is I come in, if you're cutting in the center of the bowl, you come in, do a little back cut so your bevel angle, your bevel that you're writing on is real small there in the beginning. And let's jump back to.
You don't have to buy a jig, a rig, or anything else. The platform on your grinder will help you. The 40-degree angle is not extremely critical, but it's the one that is common and works the best.
Now, what we're talking about on the different angles, let's just discuss angles per se. My pocket knife is probably sharpened at about a 15-degree angle, but that blade will not hold up in the wood. It's too sharp of angle for the blade to hold up. I was out in Australia a couple of years ago. My sister lives out there, and I got to watch a wood chopping contest. Those axes they use have a very, very, very sharp point on them, as being a very, very narrow point on what they're doing. And it was slicing through that wood beautifully. And then the guy that was ahead all of a sudden just stopped. And I asked the guy next to me, what's going on here? And he said, he hit a knot. So hitting a piece of harder wood in there, hitting the knot, dulled his axe so bad, he just set it down and quit. Because he knew he couldn't continue to have any chance with it. So we're meeting a compromise here. We're doing a 40 degrees seems to work pretty well with what we're doing in wood turning. And I know there's some people that use, 65, 55, etc. 40 degrees seems to cut and slice wood very well. I had checked a few angles I had on here. My skew, actually, I think when I checked it, it was I'm about 35 degrees, so I'm a little bit more, but it's about 40 degrees. This gouge is 40 degrees there, and that angle for the, if I can get this lined up, that angle from there to there is at 40 degrees.
Trey, what size gouge is that? And what do you recommend?
Standard 1/2-inch gouge is a good gouge. It's a good standard bowl gouge. Now, I use a 1/2-inch to 1/2 or 3/8 usually. That one there, I think this one is actually a little larger. This is probably a 5/8. I pulled it out because it's easier to see the gouge than the other. Now there is a disadvantage of the 40-40 grind, on a 40-degree grind on it. And the disadvantage is when you're trying to get down inside of a bowl, you can't make that turn inside the bowl and go across the bottom if there's any height on there. So you wind up going to you wind up going to another gouge, and this is what I use for the bottom of a bowl. And it's sharpened anywhere between 65 to 80 degrees. And it is a bottom feeder only. And that gives me my cut across the bottom of a bowl, and it swings really wide when you're cutting with it. What I'm seeing that a lot of these other turners have done, they have one gouge for a bowl, and when they do that, they're trying to compromise between getting a good cut and being able to use one gouge on a bowl. I've gone to the point of saying, hey, you know, I'll go with the gouge that cuts the bowl the best, gives me a cleaner cut on doing it. Now, with the 40-40 grind, I can get almost no tear out in the bowl, which is really important. You can reduce the tear out to almost zero. You can cut really punky wood with that grind and not get almost no tear out in what you're cutting. Here are the angles that we were looking at. I got a 40-degree angle on the bottom, 40-degree angle back coming this way, and I'll show you how I get that angle to start with, and then I'll do a back cut on there. This gouge is one other thing to set on it. It will not work on every gouge. And let me show you, there's 3 different types of gouges. This is a U-shaped gouge. It will not work, 40-40 grind will not work on this gouge. There aren't many people making them anymore, but that gouge it will not work on. This is a parabolic gouge, and it works very well with this one. It works very well with the V-shaped gouge. And they're sharpened slightly different, not a whole lot, but slightly different. And I'll go back over and show you the two. Let me see if I can find those 2 gouges. Okay. This is a parabolic gouge. This shape is a parabolic shape, looking straight in at the end of it. The other one, that's the Thompson gouges. They're generally that. Oh. Okay, this one is a straight. This is a V gouge, what Thompson makes. And I'll show you the difference on those 2 gouges. Back on the grinder. Notice one other thing. Look at the height of my grinder in the background. My grinder, the height of my grinder is a comfortable height, same height as my lathe. It's not down here on the table down low for me to stoop down to grind. It's so I can get there and see what I'm doing. Very important.
Hey, Trey, we're seeing just your tailstock view.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. My grinder height is the same as my elbow height. It's a comfortable height for me to get there and see what I'm doing. It's not down here, so I stay stooped over, but you can see where I put a platform up underneath it to raise it up to get the height that I need. So it's set pretty much the same height as the center of my lathe to be comfortable.
Trey, do you have a radio or TV on at your place?
Yes, it's about, let me turn it off.
That's the one we're looking for.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. That's the one that's getting everybody, isn't it?
That's the one. I got fussed at everybody and it was you.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. This one is a V-shaped gouge. And basically, it's going to be sharpened here without moving it, sharpened here without moving it, and then blend the 2 together. So I come in this way on one side, come in the other side, and then blend the two.
Trey, I'm going to ask a rookie question here.
Yes.
What is a V-shaped gouge? Can you show us a profile or cross section? Because we talk about deep fluted gouges, and folks are confused. What's a deep U, deep V, a fingernail grind, etc. There we go.
Okay. This is a V-shaped gouge. These sides are straight with a little U at the bottom. This is a parabolic shape. And Thompson makes a lot of the gouges that Thompson make are V-shaped. This is the easiest gouge to sharpen on the 4040 because all I do is sharpen that side flat, and then blend. This one here, you got to sort of put a little curve into it as you're doing it. But it's not much. It's basically just dropping the tool a little bit. And as I say, U-shape doesn't work.
Then we had another question about how much you grind. You're making a grind on the tip of that piece, and it's less than 1/8 of an inch wide. Why don't you keep going round and grinding?
You're talking about on the back grind?
No, sir. On a tip, when you grind a tip, we have a lot of turners believe you have to go back and forth to sharpen, to cut away the whole tool.
I've actually cut off my edge all the way around.
Yeah, but that's all that does the cutting, correct?
That's all that's doing the cutting. And I've back cut this backside here. I've undercut this backside a little bit. So that's coming, I've got from here to here, which is pretty heavy. And this is a just back cut back behind it just to, so when I'm swinging around in a bowl, it doesn't get in the way. This is actually not big enough. You can probably get that down to 1/16 of an inch and not have a problem with it. It'll ride that 1/16 of an inch bevel in it.
That's the only part of the tool that cuts, folks. The bottom doesn't cut. You can get rid of all of it.
Yeah. I should cut back more. I've just been too lazy about doing it because I've been cutting on the outside. When I get to an inside of the ball, I definitely will make that cut back on it.
So you make the swing around the angle, the curve of the bowl on the inside.
On the inside. So, okay, but
Can you use that cut for a shear cut too?
I am not using it for a shear cut. I'm just using a straight cut on it. You can turn around and cut on a shear cut just like you do any other back swept gouge. On doing the shear cut on the side, this gouge will make that same shear cut that you're used to, that shear scrape that you're doing. It'll make that same shear scrape. Or even, it'll make all the other.
Trey, in your face cut, aren't you technically shearing with the angle you've got? Just even though you're doing it with just a little bit of the tip, you're kind of shearing. I mean, you can't really get that clean a cut unless you are shearing, and you got a really clean cut when you went across the face of that.
I am not shearing. I am actually cutting just like a skew would. It's the same cut as you would a skew. That angle right there, that's the angle. If I hold the tool like this, that's the angle that I'm making the cut at. The tip of the tool is facing that at that angle. So that's it's easier to see, that's vertical. That's it. So I'm slicing that wood at that angle.
So you're holding it at about 2 o'clock then?
This one's about 2 o'clock, but I can hold it at any angle. I can hold it back at 1 o'clock or, 12 o'clock is a stall cut, it won't cut. But if I just close it a little bit, open it a little bit, it will continue and it'll start making that cut. And you can continue just rotating it to either, if you're getting in real punky wood, if you close it up some, it'll give you a cleaner cut. At this angle here, that's the angle of the cut at the tool. And the only thing that's cutting is that tip, is that very, very tip. The wing just removes the bulk of the wood coming in from behind it. So we'll do the cut again just to, so you see it. But the amount of wood I remove is irrelevant. I was getting a vibration on this, but I still have this area in here that I just cut. As much, you saw as much wood as I removed, I still have no tear out on that surface. That's a clean surface with no tear out. Cutting across the grain. And I was getting a vibration. This is dry, very dry wood. So you can make as deep a cut as you want. And what's happening on this part right in here, that's being removed by this part of the tool. And when it's removing it as the same as a scraper does. The same as a parting tool is what it's removing it at. And that's where the beauty of the tool comes in, is the tip makes the cut, and then the wing will shear the rest of it off. And I have, as I say, I have a perfect cut in here, and I'm looking at the details. I'm really good here. I got a little tear out in here, but hey, that's the wood that's going away. I don't care what that looks like. That's the wood that's going to go away with the cut.
Hey.
Yes.
Are you saying that tool's doing two jobs at one time?
Exactly right. It's doing two jobs. The tip of it is acting like a skew, giving you a nice clean cut of the wood, and then right behind the tip, the wing of the tool is doing the same thing as a parting tool does. It's removing the bulk wood. That is correct. It's doing two things. Now, if I come in here with a parting tool, that surface has got tear out in it.
And all that
This is tear out in this surface here. In the surface. Where the other chisel, there's no tear out in here. And it's going to be the same thing as I do if I'm coming in with the skew. It's too big a cut for that. Now the skew makes the cut, but it doesn't peel the wood off. So you have a problem getting rid of that wood, the wood on the outside of the cut. Where that 40-40 grind was doing it, the tip of it's making that same cut the skew does. Those two surfaces are very close to each other. But the wing acts just like the parting tool does and removes the extra bulk. So it will make it so you can remove a lot of wood at one time and still get a really, really nice finish when you're doing it.
Well, some folks don't understand that when they finish a bowl and they have those little pits in it on the inside of the bowl, and they how am I going to get rid of that? Well, you caused it. If you make too coarse of a cut and you use the term gouge, that should be called plow. You'll remove wood, but what do you leave behind?
And the tear out's caused by cutting it and not having it supported when you're doing it. You actually tear the fibers of the wood and pull it out. When I sand, I can sand out little ridges real easy. But when I try to sand out tear out, you've got to remove a lot of wood to get down into that tear out. and get it out of there. A whole lot of wood.
I lost a good friend a while back and said, what do you think about this? And I said, be nice when you sand it out. He was done with it.
So Trey, what's the answer to tear out? Come back and how to cut it.
The answer to it is make sure your tool is sharp and close it up a little bit. Close the tool up. And just cut slowly. Speed helps. A little bit faster speed will cuts a little bit better. But sharp tool and using this grind on here, I can cut and get almost no tear out all the time. It reduces the tear out because I'm slicing the wood, not scraping it, not tearing it out. I'm slicing it. And it seems to cut, and it does very well on that slice cut.
Ronnie, you know about the slice cut. We learned that with Mark Soleil.
I know that, but every week it seems to amaze me. I walk away from these meetings and you always pick up a hint, a tip, or a trick. And that was one tonight that Gouge was doing two things at the same time.
Yes.
I understand. And Trey, Ronnie, I'm going to jump in. If you do this cut at a very slow speed and pay attention to the cut, not what you're making, just the cut, you will learn how to use this tool properly. Look, there it is. Look at the squigglies coming off. I'm proud of that. Wow, I love that.
Okay, let's finish up on the actual sharpening. The two different things. This is the V shape. And as I said, the V shape, I'm going to go in one side, the other side, and blend. Now the difference on the U-shaped, I'm going to come in here, same angle. This bottom edge, this edge here is parallel to my platform, and I'll drop it down a little bit. So the difference is that I drop this down a little bit, where on the V shape, I did not. And then again, you blend it together. And I'm trying to stand off to the side of the grinder quite a bit to try to do that to show it. Standing off to the side.
What grit is your wheel?
I don't know. Probably 220 or something, but it should tell me on the side. I don't know what it is. My two wheels aren't even the same, so.
Mine aren't marked. I got it.
It's that was actually 350.
As Trey says that, he's not shaping these tools, he's sharpening these tools. So, and you wonder why has he got a 350? Because he's sharpening tools.
And you saw what I did on a 350 wheel, trying to do it otherwise and making your jigs up. It's so much easier to go to this, run over here, run that around one time, and you're through rehoning the edge. Is what I should probably call it. Instead of cutting, you're trying not to remove a lot of material. You're trying to just get that edge and do that. Just do the tip on it. And so it's a grind that I love. It works great because it does the two things on bowls and vessels and stuff where the others don't. Gives you a clean cut, and you don't have to do as much sanding. Almost no sanding on it. So.
All right. Thank you, Trey. Questions, anybody?
Yeah, just real quick comment. One of the tips too is that you notice that he's using angle gauges to make it reproducible. So when you go back and if you have to adjust the tool rest, that you're not taking as much metal off, you're just sharpening. You're just getting the edge back again. And there's a couple different ones out there, but it makes it easy reproducible to set those things.
And I actually leave that one at 40. You know, I sharpen everything. I sharpen all those at 40. And the my grinder over here on this side is set for about 20 degrees, which is what I use for the negative rake scraper. And all I do on it, I don't have the other thing set up for it. All I'm doing on it is just coming in and do this one time, and that's it. It's just a quick swipe on the side. I'm doing it on whichever side that I'm going to do it to. I flip, you know, whatever side of the thing. I want the burr on the top of. The burr's not going to last long, but it'll be there, you know, for a couple passes, and that's about it.
Ray, is that a good 40-40 grind? Is that good for green wood as well?
Yes, it is. It's beautiful on it. Cuts beautifully on the green wood. This just happened to be dry, and I was looking for something I could chuck up it here. It was a little longer. I cut it off so I could use it on here, just to show you what it looked like on the end and where it cuts, and how it does the, you know, the dual cut, both a skew type cut on it and then also the peeling cut on the waste wood. So yes, it works real well on both.
Yeah, I like your tool rack there up to the left side of the lathe to be easily to get your tools safely and organized, and you can see what they are when you go to grab them too. I like that.
About these? You talking about these?
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't know whether you can see it here. I have a tool rack in front of me, which makes it hard to put the camera down to look at me. That's the reason why the camera's off to the side. But the tools I use most of the time, I put right here in front of me. And I can see down at the bottom of I can see the bottom of all these tools here. So these are the ones I use the most, and you know.
Hey Trey, we got somebody in the chat room asking about sharpening a parting tool. Can you talk about the angle of your parting tool?
My parting tool, I run it at 20. Depends if it's part on both sides. Here's my parting tool. And I almost sharpen that at 20 degrees on both sides. How this backs off. Let's see if I can see if there's a get to it. Okay. It's on the top of it, but this is set at 20 degrees, and okay. That's it for the parting tool. I just sharpened it. I just sharpened this tool, the parting tool.
Your grinding tool rest. What make is that? The tool rest.
It's a Stewart Batty. Woodturning Emporium is the one that sells it. The really nice thing about it is the tool rest rotates about this center point, so I can adjust the angle without moving it in and out. So this area right here stays about the same when I rotate it. Where most tool rests, you have to slide the platform back and forth to do it. This one here is just rotated. You see where I'm rotating it.
What's the cost of them? $80, $75?
I don't remember exactly.
Okay, you got what we can somebody add that note to the chat if you know where to locate it. Put that in our chat.
Woodturning Emporium is the company that sells it.
Okay.
But then that's how easy it is to reset that angle on that.
I just put it in chat.
Kim's on the ball. She's got it there.
Thanks, Kim.
For that bottom feeder, was it what degree?
It's what you need to get to the bottom of the bowl. I know that's not a good answer for you. It's about 65 degrees for most bowls. But if you have a deep, real deep bowl coming in on it, you're going to have to, make it sharper. But it makes that swing across the bottom of the bowl. Let me draw a bowl on here.
While Trey is drawing it out, explained it, we are not an advertisement, and he put out a recommendation of where to get that at. It's not like if you don't have that, you can't make it work. It's just a better way to do it, and in his opinion. And I honor it. I believe it's a good way. I've got some specialty rest on my equipment just for that reason.
Okay. I'm making this cut. This is the 40-40 grind. I'm making this cut. I can get around here and get all the way down to about here. And I'm going to start hitting the top of it about that point. So this other grind, I will pick the grind up here and start making the cut here and swing back around and finish the cut down here.
That's sometimes called a bottoming gouge, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's a bottom feeder, but notice how much this gouge is going to swing. It starts here, making the cut, picking up from where I finished the last cut. You come up above it, start making the cut, and then you're going to swing all the way back around to here. So it is swung over 90 degrees to make that cut.
Is that another name, a traditional grind? Is that what they call a traditional grind also?
Similar to it, it could be. I'm not sure what all the different names are. There's so many different names of some of these grinds out there.
We can rename it right now if you choose, because you can pick a name and put it on anything and call it anything to market it.
Yep.
Hey, Kim's really at the ball today. She just gave you 2 places to find these specialty grinding platforms. It's all in chat.
The second one is called a Robo Rest. It works with the one-way system as well. I was looking into it, but now I see the Stuart Batty one. I might end up. But anyways, I'm going to go and research both of them, see which one's best. But the other one's called a Robo Rest. The company's going out of business. Not sure how long they'll have them. They're $80, so it's a price alternative. Plus, it hooks into the one-way system. So that way, if you already have the one-way vary grind system set up on your grinder, it just plugs right in there, and it's easier to set up and also replicate that word, whatever that word is. I'm tired. And it gives you all the degrees. It tells you on the side of it the degrees. It's something to look into if you guys are wanting to replicate degrees.
Robo Hippie isn't that beefy of a one though. It's not as beefy.
No, it's not as beefy. I just wanted to put that up there because it is also one that I know of that's similar to that system, but obviously you guys go and do your own research and see what would work best for you.
Now this one comes with 2 different types of bases. My wheel on the left, I have the standard Wolverine base to it. The one on the right, I have the Stuart Batty base on it. So it's 2 different type of bases are available with the same one. So you can ask for it, if you have the Wolverine, you can go ahead and still use your same base plate on it that you have on the other. You just have to tell them what you're going to use it on.
Trey, let me thank you so much, sir, for your service tonight, which you've done. And we're going to replace you next week with one of our other members.
Great.
You know you can always come back, right?
Hey, Eddie, before we move on, there was another person in the chat was asking about the different grits of the wheel. If you could just explain real quick, the lower grit is more for reshaping a tool that you may have chipped or nicked. The higher grit is going to be for the sharpening. Or maybe I just explained it. But
I think you just did a beautiful job.
I do too. Sarge, you got it. You nailed it, bud. Somebody asked us 1,000 too fine for sharpening. No. Shaping, yes.
What grit? What grit was that? 1,000?
1,000.
That's getting a little fine for maintaining an edge and doing it.
It's going to get a little fragile. I believe.
Well, it's not getting fragile on the tip. You're just having problem holding the tool against the wheel to make sure you got a nice smooth curve on it. Because it's going to remove so little metal, you're going to have a problem working just the tip.
And my other concern with sharpening a gouge with a 1,000 grit wheel is you might have almost created like a scraper on your gouge. So you make a pass and now it's dull already because you went so sharp.
Well, but you're sharpening it at the same angle, so that wouldn't make a difference. All you've done is sharpen it at a sharper angle. I will take a card or something, a little diamond card or something, and touch up stones and stuff. But and it's sharpened at the same angle, so getting super sharp doesn't hurt on doing it as long as you keep the angle. My skews, I'll put them on a felt wheel with compound on to get a razor edge on them for the same reason. But it's but the problem with going to something like 1,000 grit is you're not going to be able to hold the chisel on it well enough to maintain that tip all the way across that edge. It's not going to cut enough. Is your problem.
Thank you,
Not
folks.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate that. And remember, when you're sharpening, not shaping. Doug had a really good point there. Everything you do in shaping falls on the floor. And that means the tool makers make money. And I'm not having a problem with that, but if you sharpen, you remove very little metal and you're only removing the metal where you need to cut with.